told you that life after 40 is just the beginning of really discovering who you truly are, and that the most powerful lessons I've learned came after the so-called prime of my life. I just celebrated my 60th birthday, and let me tell you, turning 60 is not about slowing down, and it certainly isn't about fading into the background. In fact, it's the opposite. These years have brought me wisdom, resilience, and an unshakable confidence I didn't even know was possible. If you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, or 50s, this is for you, because I'm sharing the most important life lessons I've learned. Lessons we all need to hear, especially if you're navigating the challenges of midlife and wondering what's next. So whether you're curious about how to build resilience, deepen your connections, or simply discover what makes your heart sing, stick around. And as you watch, I invite you to think about the lessons you have learned as you've become older, but oh so wiser. Because there's a richness in sharing the wisdom we gain along the way, right? Change is inevitable. Growth is a choice. You know, in my late 30s, I pretty much thought I had life all figured out. I had a plan, I knew where I was headed, and I felt in control of my future. But as John Lennon famously wrote, life is what happens when you're making other plans. Everything shifted when I went through the most traumatic experience of my life. I nearly lost my life in childbirth, and my newborn baby had a strong heartbeat, but only lived for a few hours. That kind of unexpected, terrifying experience is beyond devastating. It completely shatters you. But it made me realize something crucial. Change is inevitable, whether you expect it or not, whether it's sudden or gradual. And here's the choice we all face when life throws us those curveballs. We can either allow change to make us live in fear and crush our spirit, or we can allow it to make us stronger. That experience didn't just change me, it reshaped me, rebuilt my perspective from the ground up. It taught me that we can't control what happens to us, but we can control how we respond. Change will come whether you're ready or not. What defines you is how you face it. Resilience is built in the valleys, and you have to be present. From that experience, I learned that when life knocks you down, it's in those moments, those dark valleys, that you really build your resilience. And believe me, resilience is not something you just have. It's something you build brick by brick through every challenge, every heartbreak, every setback. After losing my baby and almost my own life, I realized that the future is never guaranteed. And that's when I really started to understand the importance of being, fully present. Not getting lost in what might have been or what could be, but focusing on what is happening right here, right now. It's so easy to drift into the past or worry about the future, but life is really only happening in this very moment. Resilience doesn't just come from surviving. It comes from showing up fully for the life you have, even when it's tough. Every time I faced something hard after that experience, I reminded myself of this. I've been through worse, and I've come out the other side. You get stronger every time you show up and refuse to be defeated by what life throws at you. Letting go is a superpower. Now, let's talk about letting go, because there's a reason it can be so hard. We're wired to hold on to things, old habits, relationships, plans, and even outdated versions of ourselves. But one of the greatest powers you can develop is the ability to let go when you need to. When I was 29, I was engaged to my college sweetheart. We'd been together for 9 years, almost a third of my life at that time. And calling off the wedding, that was honestly one of the hardest decisions I've ever made. It was heartbreaking, and I wasn't even sure at the time if it was really the right thing to do. I still loved him. But something deep inside told me he just wasn't the one for me. This relationship wasn't the one for me. It felt scary. It felt embarrassing because, people ask a ton of questions. But mostly it was just absolutely heart-wrenching. But you know what? I thank my lucky stars every single day for making that decision, because letting go of that relationship created space for something so much bigger, so much better for me. A year later, when I was least expecting it, I ran into an old friend who would become my husband. He's my soulmate, my rock, and my best friend. We've now been married for 28 years and have 3 incredible daughters. Life is good. Letting go felt like a leap into the unknown, if I have to be honest, but it opened the door to the life I was truly meant to live. That's what I mean when I say letting go is a superpower. It's hard, really hard, but it clears the way for something greater. Smile often, not just for others, but for you. You've probably heard that a smile can just light up a room, and it's true. But here's the real kicker. Smiling can light you up too. It's not just about spreading positivity to others. It's about shifting your own energy. Smiling is a choice, and it's a powerful one. I actually realized this after seeing a video of myself years ago and noticing that my resting face looks kind of serious and, well, sometimes stern. It didn't reflect how I was feeling at all. I guess I have what some people call resting bitch face. At first it felt a bit awkward and kind of forced to smile more often, but over time I noticed that smiling actually made me feel happier. It was a simple shift, but it had a big impact. Now it's become a habit, and I make it a point to smile, even when I'm by myself. As Maya Angelou once said, people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did. But people will never forget how you made them feel. So now I make an effort to smile and say hello to those around me on a day-to-day basis. You know, the checkout lady at the grocery store, the dude at the post office, the stranger on the sidewalk. And it brightens their mood. You can just tell. Your smile has the power to make an impact, not just on others, but on you too. Relationships matter more than you think. As we age, it becomes crystal clear that it's not the number of people in your life, but the quality of your relationship that truly matters. I know you know that. We spend so much time in our younger years trying to be everything to everyone, right? But by 60, I've learned that deep, meaningful connections with the right people are worth more than 100 superficial friendships. There's a saying that goes, you become like the 5 people you spend the most time with. And I've found that to be so true. The people you surround yourself with shape your mindset, your energy, and even your habits. That's why it's so important to choose your circle wisely. Are you spending time with people who inspire you, challenge you, and lift you up? Or are you surrounding yourself with negativity or people who drain your energy? I've also learned that it's okay to let go of relationships that no longer serve you. It's not about cutting people out of your life abruptly. It's about protecting your energy and investing in the people who genuinely care for you, support you, and want to see you thrive. True friendship is rare, and it's so worth nurturing because the people closest to you influence the person you become. Stop letting others define you. One of the most liberating realizations I've had is what other people think of me is none of my business. I know you've heard that saying. For too long, I let others' opinions dictate my choices, second-guessing myself and just, feeling like I had to meet everyone else's expectations. But here's the truth. What people say about you often reveals more about them than it does about you. And when I finally let go about worrying what others thought, I started living for me. I trusted my own instincts more, made decisions that aligned with my values more, and found a deeper sense of peace than I ever imagined. Living authentically is the only way to live fully. Focus on what you can control. We live in a world full of noise, social media, news, constant opinions from everyone around us. It's easy to get caught up in it, to feel like you're being pulled in a million different directions, But what I've learned is that I can only control one thing, how I respond. I know you've heard that before, but it's something I think we all need to keep reminding ourselves over and over again. Because there seems to be more and more noise out there. You can't control the chaos around you, but you can control how you react to it. Instead of letting every little thing get to me, I've learned to pause, reflect, and then choose how I want to respond. It's about being intentional with your thoughts and emotions rather than letting life just happen to you. By focusing on what you can control, your own actions, your own mindset, you regain your power. Never, ever give up. no matter how many doors slam shut. Okay, here's one thing I know for sure. The only time you truly fail is when you stop trying. Life will throw no after no at you. Doors will close, opportunities will vanish, but here's the deal. You never know which door is going to be that one that opens. I've learned that when 9 doors slam shut in my face, it's that 10th door that often holds the key to something incredible. Perseverance, grit, and resilience. Those aren't just words. Those are the foundation of success, especially as we get older. You are never too old to reinvent yourself, to change direction, or pursue a dream. It's never too late to try to eat healthier, write a book, or, I don't know, reshape your body through fitness. I often ask yourself and my clients, what makes you truly feel alive? What makes your heart really sing? That question has guided me through my darkest times, reminding me that there's always something worth fighting for. And this is where my dad's advice comes in. You're usually sorry for what you don't do. So say yes. Even if you're scared, even if you're unsure, you never know what's on the other side of that yes. It could be the very thing that changes everything. But I've also learned that knowing when to say no is just as powerful. Protect your time, your energy, and your peace by saying no to the things that just don't align with your values or who you are or where you're headed. Gratitude changes everything. If there's one practice that has completely changed the way I view life, it's gratitude. And I'm not talking about the kind of be thankful stuff that you hear tossed around all the time. I'm talking about consciously and actively taking stock of what's good, even when everything feels like it might be going wrong. Gratitude shifts your perspective. It forces you to focus on what's right, what's working, and what's worth celebrating. When you make it a habit to acknowledge the good in your life, even in small everyday moments, you start to see more good. It's not magic, it's mindset. And let me tell you, it works. Say no to say yes to yourself. For a long time, I thought saying no was selfish. Like I was kind of, I don't know, letting people down if I didn't show up for everything or agree to all these requests. But as I've grown older, I've realized that every time you say yes, especially to something that possibly drains you, you're saying no to yourself. Learning to say no is more than just protecting your time. It's about protecting your peace. It's about saying yes to things that truly matter to you, to what lights you up and brings you joy. So if saying no feels hard to you, remember this. Every no is a chance to say yes to something that matters more. So here we are, 10 lessons that have shaped my life, especially after 40. And you know what? I wouldn't trade a single one of these challenges or heartbreaks. They've made me stronger, more resilient, more grateful, and more open to possibility. So how about you? I'd love to know, what's one life lesson you've learned since you were younger? Drop it in the comments below, because this is how we keep growing and learning from each other. Thank you for being here, for sharing this space with me. It means the world. And remember, never give up. Say yes to what excites you and protect your peace by saying no when you need to. I adore you, and I'll see you next week.